The first US dollar as we know it today was printed in 1914. Over 100 years later, it's safe to say that printer must be overheated. Before the United States became the world reserve currency, Portugal, Spain, the Netherlands, France, and Britain all carried the torch. On average, those reigns lasted 94 years before that responsibility became too hot to handle. As our inflation issue exacerbates, people are starting to wonder, will America drop the hot potato before the 94-year average? The conversation for Bitcoin replacing the dollar as the world's reserve currency is heating up. Here's my hot take. Let's get it. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all the interwebs. My name is Ben. Every day on this channel, I show you how to make money in crypto. If you like money in crypto, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to go deeper into crypto, make sure to check out bitlabacademy.com. In this video, we will discuss the possibility of Bitcoin becoming the world reserve currency. As politicians on both sides of the aisle take their stance on crypto, it's easy to see how this topic can be highly controversial amongst those who have the power to make real changes. Senators such as Ted Cruz and Cynthia Lummis see crypto as an opportunity to help create revenue for their respective states. Since China has banned crypto yet again, there's a massive gap in the market for mining the asset. Cruz and Lummis are fighting for clarity because they know an opportunity when they see one, and they want their states to front-run the movement to fill the void. On the other hand, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton recently stated on a panel discussion at the Bloomberg New Economy Forum that crypto could undermine the dollar as the world's reserve currency and destabilize nations. Is she saying this because she truly cares about the world's equilibrium, or is it because she has skin in the game in the world of political 3D chess? Considering her net worth is around $120 million, feels like those closest to the printer will go to any length to protect the ink cartridge and maintain their power over the rest of the world. As we tiptoe closer and closer towards mass adoption, I often wonder how many miles these steps will take us. Will Bitcoin just become a globally accepted alternative asset class, or will it surpass the status quo and become the world's reserve currency for all of humanity? It's possible. This conversation has been heating up across the internet with the likes of Jordan Peterson, London Real, Michael Saylor, Rand Paul, several other politicians and elite investors weighing in on the possibility. Now, before we get into the pros and cons of Bitcoin taking over the world, let's first take a leap back through time, look at what made the US dollar the powerhouse that it is, where it went wrong, and what can be done about it. The first US dollar was printed in 1862, became the official reserve currency of the world less than 100 years later, 1944. The decision was made by a delegation from 44 allied countries called the Bretton Woods Agreement. At the time, we were on a gold standard, which promised you could receive X amount of gold for X amount of dollars. Kind of like how stable coins are pegged to the dollar now. The system worked. Unfortunately, we had to pay for another war. So the gold standard was abandoned in 1971. Thanks a lot, Tricky Dick. This is where a number of our problems really started because that was the year our dollar officially became fiat currency. If you didn't know, this means it's not backed by anything other than the mutual agreement that we all consent to, that a dollar is a dollar. Since leaving the gold standard in 1971, a multitude of problems has gone awry. On average, inflation has increased around 4% per year since then. Inflation is even more of an issue now, considering over 40% of US dollars in circulation were printed in the last 18 months. According to the website, WTFHappened1971.com, issues ranging from federal national debt, consumer price index, personal savings rates, banking crises, and many more all went out the window in 1971, a direct result from abandoning the gold standard. This untimely defenestration started an avalanche of issues that cannot be undone unless another system is put in place. Does it make sense that the country that is the world's reserve currency is just shy of $29 trillion in debt? Before I say what I'm about to say, I want to take a moment to state that just because I'm a Falcons fan doesn't mean I'm not a patriot. I bleed red, white, and blue. But what's more important, the well-being of America's power or the well-being of the world? It's no secret that people are losing faith in the government and their ability to make decisions on the global scale. A recent Gallup poll points out that the trust in the federal government to handle international problems is at a record low of 39%. According to NASDAQ, Senator Rand Paul, who accepted Bitcoin donations during his presidential run in 2016, stated, "I've started to question now whether or not cryptocurrency could actually become the reserve currency of the world the more and more people lose confidence in the government." He's got a solid point here, and the numbers don't lie. The truth is, most people who invest in Bitcoin do so because it's the best bet against inflation for now. Who wouldn't want to use a depreciating asset to purchase an appreciating one? Yes, the speed or time of finality of Bitcoin needs to continue to be improved over time, but there are far more pros than cons to this argument unless the legacy system lines your pockets. There's the 1% of the 1%, and then everybody else who lives on planet Earth, whose best interest should be at heart. So say if Bitcoin was to become the world reserve currency. Yes, it would take some power away from America, but it would be much more fair for every other country in the world because Bitcoin doesn't belong to any country. It doesn't belong to Germany or France, China, America, or anywhere else. Bitcoin is for everyone. America has heightened emotions about spreading the ideology of equality, but we don't want to give up the throne. Each country could still have its own currency. That currency would be pegged to Bitcoin rather than to the dollar. In my opinion, this could result in less global conflict because one country wouldn't have a leg up on the rest, other than, of course, the size of their military, but that's a whole different conversation. No one country should rule the world. We should all be able to coexist without anyone's foot on anyone's neck. What makes the US so powerful as the world reserve currency is that our debt obligations are backed by force. For example, if you legally work or provide a service for someone and they don't pay you, you can sue them. If they don't go to court, they will be summoned to go. If you steal money and get caught, you will most likely go to jail. Many battles have been fought over taxes, trade tariffs, or someone not paying what they owe. How much more blood has to be spilled over money and greed? Only if there was a universal monetary alternative that decentralized and redistributed the power so money was more fair. Make sure to smash those likes and hit subscribe to be in the squad backed by the finest digital gold, the BitSquad, where you get the latest in crypto news, opinions, and education. Consider the alternatives if America dropped the hot potato and was no longer the world reserve currency. Would you rather have China hold that power, or Russia, or any other country? Absolutely not. China keeps cracking down on crypto because they want all yuan to stay in China. They don't want their citizens to have any options, so they're forced to rely on their government. That right there is a firsthand example of why greed should not dictate any global decisions. Totalitarian world is not one I want to live in. There is a better way. As Vitalik Buterin pointed out in an article on Nakamoto.com, when building mechanisms that decide high-stakes outcomes, it's very important for those mechanisms to be credibly neutral. For something as high stakes as the world's monetary reserve, there is no room for bias. There is no room for greed. There has to be a neutral middle ground with an incentive structure that is as fair can be for everyone involved. People are frustrated and their patience is wearing thin. Temperature is rising. Something needs to solve this issue before someone does. Hopefully that something is Bitcoin. Let's be honest. Is it fair for one country to hold that much power over the rest? Do the politicians really believe they can keep printing money and inflating the dollar without consequence? Something has to give. The longer we push this off, the longer we wait to make a change, the worse it will be for whoever has to clean up this mess. 1984, an Austrian-British economist, F.A. Hayek, said, "I don't believe we shall ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of the government. That is, we can't take it violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is by some sly roundabout way to introduce something they can't stop." 2009, the white paper for that idea was published, and the world will be better for it. That's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.